This has a
Yeah.
lot of sediment in it, which I think is weird because I've never had a white with a lot of
Probably because it's a minimal
natural.
intervention / natural. Yeah. Because they don't believe in filtering, and all wine should have that sediment in it if you don't filter.
Yes.
So yeah.
But I've seen it in red. I just never have had it. I don't drink that much white. That's why, more than anything, probably. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So
I drink a lot of white these days, but yeah, I was a red first, and it took me a while to expand
I think
into
my
all
body
the
might
other
be
color
turning
categories.
against red, so I might.
Yeah, so you got to get into white.
Go to white. I'm gonna have to turn into an old. I think well, we won't get into that. That's a therapy session. Never mind.
Okay.
We don't need to do that tonight.
Are you not entertained?
Yes, sir! We'll have a real good time!
He's Dave, and I'm Dallas, and this is Vintertainment. We have opinions on just about everything. Sometimes those opinions are spot on. Sometimes they go down easier with a glass of wine. This is Vintertainment, the wine and entertainment pairing podcast.
Welcome back to another wine and entertainment pairing for your Vintertainment. This is the podcast where we pair wine with entertainment. It's as simple as that. We always know what we like or dislike, but we rarely know why. So what better way to learn about that than by comparing different wines to different types of entertainment and compare and contrast how they both hit us and affect us the way that they do. I'm Dave, your WSET Level 3 certified wine professional.
And I'm Dallas, your professional writer and world builder. And now for the wine trivia question of the week. Today's movie bears the title Mute, and that term is also used in the world of wine, specifically mute with the accent over the E as in French. But what does it mean? When someone says this wine is Van Mute because it has undergone mutage, what does it actually mean? Does it mean A, fortified by the addition of spirits, B, deacidified by addition of a deacidification agent such as potassium carbonate, or C, aged in a neutral container such as stainless steel instead of oak, or D, told to shut the fuck up by an older, bossier wine? We'll reveal the answer at the end of the episode, or if you're seeing this as a part of a short video, check the comments. Once again, those choices are A, fortified by the addition of spirits, B, deacidified by the addition of a deacidification agent such as potassium carbonate, C, aged in a neutral container such as stainless steel instead of oak, or D, told to shut the fuck up by an older, bossier wine.
He just wanted to say "shut the fuck up" again.
I did. It's true. That's
why he had to repeat all of that over again.
It's totally my motto. All right, Dave. Tell us what we're doing today, buddy.
All right, today we have a very special guest, the first to make a second appearance on this podcast, our very own producer, Jessica Maison.
Yes. Woo.
As many of you may know, because we shout her out every
episode,
a perk of being a producer. Jessica has her own Substack, monsteroftheweek.substack.com, where she posts different short stories of monsters from across time and around the world and keeps readers up to date on her graphic novel and novel pursuits like Mary Shelley's School for Monsters and the Plastic Girl trilogy. And by the way, side note, you too can become a producer by heading to our Substack, entertainmentstudios.com, and subscribing at the producer tier, which is just $50 a year, at least for now. And that gets you a shout out on every single episode. Plus, you get to commission your own episode and tell us what to cover, as Jessica did on our Dead Mail episode just a few short weeks ago. If you want to experience an unexpected and delightfully understated indie horror film,
it's true,
make sure to check out Dead Mail, currently streaming on Shudder, folks. Okay, Jessica, how's you been? How's you doing?
I'm feeling pretty great. Yeah.
You've just been to a couple of No Kings protests in a couple of months. Both of those are under your belt. You have a brand new Mary Shelley School for Monsters graphic novel released into the wild. It's been a banner year, both for good and for ill. But, let's take the temperature of this year since it's almost over. How does it feel this November? How you doing?
Well, I mean, I'm happy, I guess, on a personal level. All of the No King stuff and everything that's happening has been crazy. I mean, it's also getting pretty dramatic, I think, in the world. We'll see what happens. We'll see if it's possible to take anybody down. But I've been good. You're right. I just, on December 2nd, which is also my birthday, I am releasing the first book of Mary Shelley School for Monsters, La Llorona in the Machine, on all the digital platforms. And that's a first for me with a graphic novel. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm good. I'm also embarking on a podcast, which I'm not going to talk about too much, but I know I'll be bugging you guys at some point. Well, not just a little bugging, not too much bugging.
A little bug.
But, yeah.
we bug you enough too, so we'll return the favor.
Okay, good. All the mutual bugging.
Yes. Exactly. That's the joy. It's the joy of these little subcultures. But we'll have links for all of Jessica's stuff down below in the description of this episode. So folks, please go click on them. Check her out. Check out her Substack. Keep an eye out for that December 2nd Mary Shelley's School for Monsters hitting the digital platforms. We'll have as many links as Jessica can throw at us. We will happily put them down there, Jessica. And so you've been on once before, as already mentioned.
Oh, and I loved being on, so I'm so excited to be here again.
Yes.
To be honest.
And this is a long time coming follow-up, right?
Yes, we've been meaning to do this.
Yeah. So we talked about 2009 movie Moon, the directorial debut of Duncan Jones and starring Sam Rockwell, for those of you who have seen that movie.
Go check it out if you haven't.
It turns out Moon is the first of a loose trilogy of sci-fi stories, all of which have now been released. So it was high time that we return to tackle the second movie in this loose trilogy, Mute. So the movie, Mute, was released on February 23rd, 2018 on Netflix as a quote-unquote Netflix original. I believe they did fund the whole dumb thing. So yes, a proper Netflix original. It's the fourth feature film by director Duncan Jones, following Moon, Source Code, and Warcraft, a movie I still have to see someday, just because, I don't know, it's in the fact that Duncan Jones directed Warcraft.
I saw it in theaters.
Kind of. Did you?
It was the only thing I had like 2 hours available. And it was the only, between either meetings or something, I don't remember, but 2 hours. It was the only thing playing. And I was like, fuck. Okay, I guess I'm saying Warcraft. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, having watched Moon and Mute, we're going to talk more at length about these two movies, and especially Mute today. But he definitely has a style. He definitely has a voice, and Warcraft does not really feel like it fits into that world. But we'll talk about that in just a moment. But Mute was actually the very first script that Jones co-wrote and wanted to make into a movie back in the day. So we covered some of this movie's origins in our episode on Moon. So we won't go super in depth on this. You can go listen to our episode on Moon. You can hear about those origins and how it relates to Moon. But we'll cover some of the broad strokes again, just for people listening to this episode, because it's important to cover some of the same ground, to give the proper context to Mute. And we got one part of our Moon coverage incorrect, so we have to correct the record on that. And this will give us the opportunity to do that. So Mute tells the story of Leo, played by Aleksander Skarsgard, a kind but short-tempered bartender who works in a Berlin nightclub circa 2050 and who cannot speak because of a childhood accident that his Amish mother refused surgery for him to fix. It was this weird motorboat accident. Motorboats, all those Amish motorboats running around there. It's all over, folks. It's all over, especially if you're Amish. Be careful of motorboats. Although he lives in a world where everyone seems to embrace technology to some degree, Leo keeps his life simple and prefers making wood carvings over having a smartphone-type device. But when the love of Leo's life disappears under enigmatic circumstances, Leo goes in search of her, a mission that eventually puts him on a direct collision course with dangerous AWOL American soldiers Cactus Bill, played by Paul Rudd, and Duck, played by Justin Theroux, in the seedy environs of Berlin's criminal underworld. This movie is a blend of noir and sci-fi infused with elements of Blade Runner, MASH, of all things, and other films. Mute is the most personal project to date for director and writer Duncan Jones. Part of the reason it's so personal is that it took him 16 years to make this film. He originally envisioned the film to be his first. According to an interview in Den of Geek, Jones is quoted as saying, quote, "Obviously, we didn't have any access to any real budget. We were trying to work it out. I was living in London, and at the time, we were thinking it could be sort of a London gangster film. Back when films like Sexy Beast and Layer Cake were coming out. It was quite a long time ago. But then I had the chance to write and make Moon. And that kind of gave me a new insight into, hey, there's a way of telling this story which uses science fiction to maybe turn it into something a little bit different. I got very excited about that and kind of ran with it. That's where this sort of science fiction element came into it," unquote. And folks, that's the bit I got wrong when we covered Moon. I thought this was a sci-fi epic that he couldn't get off the ground because of how expensive it was going to be to make a sci-fi Blade Runner-like epic as your first film. Turns out Mute was originally just a London crime drama, street crime drama, and it was the making of Moon that gave Duncan Jones the idea to turn it into sci-fi. But to understand why he then made Moon first anyway, we have to talk about the original non-sci-fi Mute script and actor Sam Rockwell.
That's right. In a Deadline interview, Jones revealed that he had just written an incredibly wordy script about artificial intelligence that was basically a 12 Angry Men courtroom drama about AI. Full disclosure, I literally just started a 12 Angry Men courtroom drama about AI about a week ago. So,
of course you did.
This is full circle, baby. Jones is quoted as saying, "It was just sheet after sheet of dialogue. It was before AI and iRobot. It was a good idea and an interesting subject matter with great speeches, but it wasn't really a film." He gave that script to editor Barrett Heathcote, who would eventually edit both Moon and Mute. And Heathcote said, "I didn't know Duncan very well at the time. We'd worked together on a couple of things. I said, I think the script is great, and it was the first full-length script he'd written. And I said, you've just done it with dialogue rather than stage direction. The story is great." So Duncan said, "I'm going to set myself an exercise and write something where my main character is Mute. As mentioned before, it was originally a contemporary British gangster movie. According to Jones, I think Jonathan Glazer's Sexy Beast had just come out. It was the advent of the British gangster film, and lots was happening. I was like, I couldn't do it in London, and it would feel like that." Excuse me. That was the original idea. Low budget, shot in London where we were living, and we'd see if we could get it picked up there. It was so early on in Leo's character that Leo's character was essentially just a guy who couldn't talk. There was no real background to him other than that. I had already fallen in love with the idea of using Trapper John and Hawkeye Pierce from Robert Altman's MASH as my villains. To this day, he says, that film is still my favorite comedy. Every time I watch it, I think to myself, I wish I could just sit around the table with guys like that. Then I also remind myself that they're horrible if they don't like you. What if they hate you? What would happen to you? That's kind of where Cactus and Duck came from. It was turning those guys into villains. But it was this London version of the script that Duncan gave to Sam Rockwell. And here our guest is going to join us in chronicling the history of this film. Jessica, take it away.
Okay. Well, according to Duncan, he says, "I gave Sam Mute, wanting him to play one of the MASH characters, Duck. And he loved the script, but he did not want to play Duck because he played enough villains. He wanted to play Leo, which was never going to happen. I love Sam to death, but I had Ray Stevenson in my head for a while. Then obviously Ken Watanabe, big guys, because he was going to be silent and I wanted him to have a presence that people could interpret in multiple ways. Like one person, he might seem dumb, to someone else intimidating, to someone else thoughtful, but having him be a big guy was essential. So without the physical presence, it limits my options. You don't get the intimidation factor. You couldn't do it. this is him talking to Sam, obviously, but you'd have to play it a different way. But Sam wanted to play Leo. He said no to Duck. And then at that point in the meeting with Sam, I said, I'm going to go ahead and write something for you. And then I wrote Moon. And from that meeting to having a first draft of the script was 9 months. Then from the first draft to shooting was probably 3 or 4 months later. The speed was incredible. And I would say that's because he wrote a good script. When you write a good script, it goes fast.
That's true.
I love
see where this
Moon, though.
conversation is going.
Oh
with
no,
Mute.
I'm sorry if I'm not allowed to do that. I'll do it over.
Oh no, do what you want.
Totally allowed
yes,
to
yes,
do that.
But we definitely inspire. We enjoyed the conversation here. So when something does pop up,
Yeah.
we like the back and forth. So go for it.
Okay. So
Remember,
after
Mute took 16 years.
yeah, 16
exactly.
years of struggle and hardship. After Moon came the larger but still cerebral Source Code 2011, and then the Behemoth Warcraft 2016. In the intervening years, while still working to get Mute made and seeing its meaning for him change during this time, the meaning for Duncan changing over time. So something now we're at the point where something didn't quite work anymore with the original London version. And so the first thing Duncan does is he needs to change these characters and maybe the place where they're from. And I think this is a good change. He has the two, Duck and his friend, the two like MASH characters. He has them, puts them in a strange world. They're Americans. They're trapped in a culture abroad. And they really, at least one of them really hates it. Duncan is quoted as saying, we went through so many different phases with it, between trying to make it in different cities with different actors and trying to pitch it to different studios. And then here at the American film market. And we tried to drum up interest by doing it as an animated film at one point. We also tried with a graphic novel, which would have been a good move to keep us there. But unfortunately, these incredibly talented artists were struggling to keep up with the work at the time and just kept getting slower and slower. So we never really got through with that. And now they're all coming out in the wrong order. We made Moon because I couldn't get Mute made. And after Source Code, we were trying to get this other film made, which is basically the third part of the triangle. Expect it to be as different to Mute as Mute is to Moon. It involves a pair of sisters. But more than that, but more than this, Jones won't say. So he didn't want to tell at that point. But I think we know maybe Dave will tell us what happens.
Yes, and that quote-unquote pair of sisters project turned out to be Maddie, M-A-D-I, which eventually became the graphic novel that Mute almost was, released by Z2 Comics in giant, oversized hardcover. Expect us to cover that third part of this loose trilogy in the near future with Jessica as well. And all that's left to say about the background of this movie is this one final evolution of the story. During the years when it was getting underway via Netflix, Jones lost both his father, the musician David Bowie, as well as Marion Skeen, the nanny that raised him like a mother after his birth mother had abandoned him when he was young. Both Bowie and Skeen died within a year of each other. So this brought the themes of parenthood front and center in the Mute story when it wasn't there before. Of what makes a good or bad parent. And if you ask me, having now watched the film, especially for one of these characters, the messiness of being both at once.
Yes. Bowie's inspiration is certainly all over this film, as Jones has gone on record roughly saying that he'll likely become aware of even more dad-specific subtext as time moves on. Even in the early scripting stage, way back in 2003, Jones asked his father to read the original script. And as Dave mentioned earlier, the film is set in Berlin, where Jones spent a lot of his time as a toddler and then later playing rugby in the weeks preceding the fall of the Berlin Wall. He's gone on record as saying he's got a serious connection to Berlin, and particularly this moment right before the Berlin Wall fell, which, you kind of get a sense of in this film. But Berlin is also where David Bowie created his masterwork, Berlin Trilogy, with Brian Eno between 1977 and 1979. And
It's literally considered the Berlin era of
it is.
Bowie.
It's the Berlin era.
It's like
That's right.
his Berlin era. Yeah,
That's right. And in 1978, Bowie was hard at work filming Just a Gigolo, which features Marlene Dietrich in her very last starring role. And it was during breaks from filming this that Bowie would make busy with his other great love, art. His focus at the time was the linocut technique, which is essentially an artistic process in which a design is carved into a piece of linoleum, similar to woodcut, but without the grain. Then it has ink added and is pressed. Bowie was quite a fan of this style, and he was quite the artist. There was a great exhibit here in LA up at the Forest Lawn Cemetery, has a great building up and museum on a hill here in Glendale. And they did the first traveling Bowie exhibit of his artwork and pieces of his life after his death. And I went to see it. It was fantastic. Anyway, the piece that was created on the set of Just a Gigolo makes an appearance in today's film Mute.
Interesting. I can't quite picture it. I'll have to Google that.
Yeah, you'll see it.
what that
It's in
art
the
style
background.
is and whatnot.
It's a great image. It's a great little image.
Cool. All right. So with that bit of history and context behind us, let's get our takes on this movie Mute. Jessica, kick us off. After having been a fan of Moon for all these years, and you have revealed to us before we started recording today that you have actually seen this movie once before, completely forgot about it, and only realized halfway through watching it again that you're like, wait, I've seen this before. Not a good sign, not a good start, but what do you think of this long gestating spiritual sequel?
Yes, it is weird that I don't remember it. It was weird that I didn't remember it because I do remember movies quite well. I think I blocked some of it out because I was a huge fan of Moon. I'm a huge fan of Sam Rockwell, and I'm watching this movie the first time, and then in the second time because I had it remembered. I'm like, oh, Sam Rockwell's not very much. He's not really in this movie,
No.
and I just got so sad.
It was
right
a great
away,
tease,
both
though.
times.
It was a great tease.
It was a
tease.
great tease, but such a tease. So my number one issue with the movie probably is the betrayal of my own mind, thinking I'm going to see lots of Sam Rockwell.
A sequel.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't be upset because I get Aleksander Skarsgard, who is amazing, and I get Justin Theroux, who's amazing in this movie.
Dominic Moynihan shows up for 7 seconds.
Right? And I don't want to leave out Paul Rudd, but he's not my favorite actor in the movie. But
he grew on me. He grew on me.
Yeah, he does grow on you.
Yeah.
It's a pretty dark movie. There's a lot of individual set pieces I really like that are really fun to look at and see, but then that they don't all always feel like they go together. But yeah, I mean, everyone's on a journey in this movie, and I'm not on board with everybody's journey,
To say the least.
to say the least. And I could see, I never knew that it had been a London gangster movie in in that time period. And it
Doesn't that make sense though?
It does make a lot of
100%.
sense. Like,
100%.
and now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, okay, I get it. And I could see it with these accents and everyone being a little over the top, but that's not exactly what's happening. And the MASH thing makes total sense.
Absolutely.
And I think Justin Theroux kicks that right out of the park.
That's kind of the masterstroke of this entire film for me,
Yeah.
is though that relationship between, it's a dual antagonist kind of role, which is so rare, but when done well, it's so good. That relationship between those dual antagonists is just perfect for me. And you do see that MASH
that was good.
sort of inspiration for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think any other actor played that character. I'm forgetting his name right now. Not Duck, but who did Justin play? He played
Cactus Bill. Oh no, Duck was Justin. Cactus Bill is Paul Rudd.
Cactus. Okay, so he is Duck, and then Cactus Bill is Paul Rudd.
Correct. Yeah.
And anybody else, they did such a masterful casting job because
they did.
he's likable, but you're never comfortable because he's got a weird thing for underage girls.
There's some darkness there. Yeah.
And there's a daughter there all the time that Cactus Bill loves, and so that is what creates a lot of the tension, I think, in this movie, is just his presence.
Yeah.
In his scenes, I'm like, oh my God, just get me out of the scene.
Yes.
But I mean, but he's
Yes.
also really likable. He comes over and he's a good friend, and it's weird. It's so weird. That part's weird.
And
Anyway,
yes, Dallas, go ahead. What
It-
your
it-
thoughts? Pick up from there.
There, for me, I really wanted to explore. I wanted to get away. I wanted to just get away from the conceit, mute
Yes,
conceit of the
the
film, and just have an entire film about this dual protagonist relationship between these two characters.
Mhm.
Because that was the most dynamic, most interesting thing about the entire film. It is the most layered thing. It was most layered, sort of, in terms of writing, in terms of character arcs. I do think Paul Rudd was miscast horribly, but I do.
I wouldn't say horribly, but
yeah, it was horrible for me. But I ultimately, I think the way that relationship was written was just so delicious, and it had such depth and such sort of possibility that I wanted the entire film to be about those two. No slight to anything else happening in the film. I was just so ready to take off and follow the relationship between these two, because everything else was not paint by numbers, but it was also a little sort of pedestrian. But ultimately, I walked away from this film, really, as Dave and I have discussed many times. Anyone who watches this regularly knows that I wait the try of a film when I can see that the architecture of the film, there's something lofty they're attempting to kind of do. It may not be executed well, but I wait that. And I do see that this is, one, a labor of love, and there's a lot of stuff in this film he may not even know himself that he was sort of trying to sort of work out, because again, it's what, 15, 20 years now, 22 years now since he first put pen to paper. So ultimately, the film for me was okay.
That's a long.
How my motto for this year is how not to make enemies by being myself.
I know, but that's the thing. That's a very long. Like nothing nice enough is coming. Nothing nice enough is coming.
You're gonna say something, Jessica?
It does manage. Well, it's not. The pacing's just a little too slow.
Okay.
And what I think they don't do as well as if they had tied in I think they were trying so hard to be this big reveal that Paul and the woman were together. I think they waited too long on that. Like she disappears very early, and then you're trying to understand why you're watching these two storylines. And I think I would have been okay knowing that earlier, because that would have increased the tension for me in a different way.
Yeah, absolutely.
There are individual, and so then if they could have tied those in just a little bit earlier, then we could have had some more. We might have gotten like a Michael Mann moment with what is that movie with the two guys? Where they're together and it's like tense before they're actually about to kill each other.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Heat, yes, and they're trying to do that in the cafe, but you don't know yet that they're connected.
Right.
And so it's not, and so you want that later. And I mean, I do see the interesting thing about Bowie and, Duncan is like, in a weird way, you can see a father who's involved in something. I'm sure Duncan got around a lot of adult things. And not that David Bowie's into bad things like these guys, but like, he probably had this interesting childhood
for sure. Yeah.
Some spillover where he knows his dad's protecting him and loving him, but he's also like, a bunch of girls and crazy art people are around and you don't know. And so that part's interesting to watch. I mean, I think there's a lot of cool stuff in this movie.
Actually, Jessica, I'm sorry. You mentioned that.
Me. I'm just rambling.
That's what we do here. That's totally what we do here.
Yeah. I like to ramble.
But you mentioned that, and I did not consider that as sort of a theme or tether back to Duncan's childhood. The fact that this little girl, the child avatar, is set up, placed in the care of some rather shady or potentially shady characters. And, you're right. That does sort of harken back to what we think the child of David Bowie in the 70s and early 80s would actually experience. So, thank you. I actually did not think about that. Yeah, that's a good point.
And all those shady characters took nice care of her. Nobody, nobody treated her poorly. Right. Yeah. And so, I mean, I thought I love Aleksander Skarsgard. He's my one blonde exception. But like
that's a t-shirt. That's a t-shirt.
I'm not a blonde. That is a t-shirt.
That's a t-shirt.
But I watched Murderbot where he's got a mask on half the time, which I think is a mistake. And then this one is interesting because he's not talking. He has such a great voice and it's fun to listen to him speak.
Yeah.
So then it's like you're just taking his tools away, which is probably fun for him for one movie or one show.
Yeah.
But then it's like, but as the audience, he does a good job, but I just always want, I like to see him. I like to hear him talk.
You want Aleksander Skarsgard,
right?
Yeah,
damn it.
Right. You want when they're facing off, you want him to say one of his things.
You're like, honey, don't be an actor, just be you, okay? Thank you.
Yeah. Why are you acting? No, it's true.
I will say one other thing. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jessica.
No, go ahead.
This film is missing action for me. It's such a John Wick. It sort of sits on a similar shelf cosmically as John Wick. And it's missing this sort of, it's a guy who it's the thing he loves and the world goes missing and he goes out trying to put together the pieces of where it went and make the people. So it's a lost love with anger and all that nonsense.
Closer to Taken. Because you don't know anyone's killed them, right?
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll say it's somewhere between Taken and
John Wick is revenge.
We'll talk about somewhere
Taken
between Taken and it's somewhere
Okay.
between those two on the cosmic shelf. I've created this concept.
Not seeing the John Wick. Not seeing the John Wick.
I've created this concept of the cosmic shelf, so everything is a relationship on the cosmic shelf to me.
I have no idea what that even means.
That's
I'm going to
here,
make one
baby.
for myself now. It's over here, the cosmic
Exactly.
shelf.
That's the beauty of words. They mean nothing to some,
Okay.
and everything to others. But anyway,
what's a cosmic shelf? No. If
so
you're
the
going to have a
cosmic shelf is
conversation
this.
about
So
a cosmic
So
shelf,
Dallas can put his thing up in the cosmic shelf, and then I can reach in and grab the thing from the cosmic shelf.
So
No, I don't know what you're meaning. I'm just
exactly.
guessing.
No, I often have difficulty describing, particularly specifically my own work. It's the whole comparables thing that you have to sort of master in the business, right? Because that's the only thing people understand. Well, what's it like? Okay, well, read it and find out, asshole. But in the pitch and the sell. So the idea of the cosmic shelf for me is essentially just an exaggeration of the comparables concept. I'll take if there were a sort of cosmic bookshelf or a cosmic sort of shelf at the video store, where would this film live? What films would this be on a similar shelf to? Not alphabetically, not necessarily genre specific, but in terms of the comparables. And for me, this one would land somewhere near a John Wick. Not exactly the same, but if I were loosely describing what the walk of the character, the primary character was, if I were reaching without thinking, I would probably go first to John Wick. And then you're right, I may go with a little more thought, go to Taken. And there may be something else that it gets a bit more refined in the future. So that's the idea of the cosmic shelf for me. But you're right, it probably is closer to Taken, but if for the purposes of dramatic effect, I said John Wick. Go ahead, Dave.
No, go ahead, Jessica. You had something real quick.
No, I was trying to. I'm kind of like, I get the whole going after something that's been lost or taken and just losing your mind. It gave me, there's this movie I watched and I want to talk about it, but I'm not going to remember the name. And I can't remember what it was set, but it was all around eggs, this concept of eggs. It was like an indie movie. I think it came out like in the 90s. And I wish I was trying to remember what we were talking. But there's a
genre?
vibe.
What was genre loosely?
It was like kind of like, I would say it was kind of like film noir-y, a little sci-fi, but there was like people smuggling very rare animals and eggs into this country, and then there was this whole underground stripper thing going on, and I got
you gotta find that. We're gonna give you like 5 minutes.
I'm gonna make you guys do it,
and
we're gonna do it because it's such a good movie, and I just can't remember
amazing.
it, and I shouldn't bring up these things
ridiculous.
like this.
And yes, this is where you should bring these things up, actually.
But I should have. I thought of it while I was watching, and I meant to look it up so I could remember the name. But it was. I love that movie. There was moments where the energy kind of matched, but a totally different situation.
Okay.
But it was the search. There was the search for the lost thing, the thing that we're looking for. And I mean, that's always intriguing. And what the problem with this, where I think this movie is you've got two people. You've got your antagonist trying to get his papers, trying to get out of the country.
Right.
And you've got your protagonist who's like, my girl's gone. Where'd she go? And I just want them to come to. You're right. I want more action of them. I want that to know earlier, and I want more fight scenes between them.
Right.
Before the big fight scene where it's just.
And I'll piggyback off
the lack of. No, I'm done.
Oh.
you can piggyback off that.
I'll piggyback off that and say I think if they'd moved that reveal of the relationships earlier, we probably would have gotten more action, and maybe it was a production thing. I've read that the budget was somewhere between 18 and 25, and Jones had originally budgeted for somewhere around 40. So who knows? Maybe that was sort of lost in the production, but who knows? But I do agree with you 100%.
So Exotica is the movie.
Yes,
Exotic.
I love Exotica.
That's it.
I love Exotica. They're not storyline similar, but the vibe of the
Cosmic Shelf. Yes, it's in the Cosmic Shelf.
Thank you, Dave. I was gonna be so I loved Exotica. I watched that in college at some weird late night screening, and I was like, what?
Weirdly good. It's weirdly good.
Yes,
I remember it's uncommonly, like, you look at the trailer and you're like, oh, that's trash. Like, no way this is gonna be. And then it is an interesting and actually well made. It's like surprisingly well-made film. On that note, I'm going to take I think I had a different reaction to this film. I don't really disagree with anything either of you two have said. I think there's a couple of things that hurt this film. One, I think that, well, I don't disagree that like more action would have actually made it more what people expected. And especially when you start the film, you kind of expect it to go in that direction. Like, that's what it's setting up for. It's not an action movie at all. And I think that is part of the problem is like, and I think it's part of making it sci-fi and making it almost Blade Runner-esque. I mean, Blade Runner suffered this too, in the fact that it has so little action in it. And it's so plotting and it's so slow burn. And so, like, what are we doing? It's beautiful, but what are we doing here, Ridley Scott? Come on, man. Do something within this setting and with these characters. And it happens here and there. There's, like, a couple of scenes where, boom, shit happens. And the rest of the movie is vibes, right? The rest of the movie is just, let's see what's going on. Now, this movie, I don't think it's vibes as much. I actually think the sci-fi setting is just one giant red herring with what this movie what the story actually is and what the script. It should have been a crime drama. It should have been just set in the modern goddamn era. Do Berlin, awesome, and have them be American AWOLs. All of that could have worked. I'm not saying the script is perfect, even if you had done that, but I do think the buy-in and the just going along with the ride and seeing where all these characters were going. If it was just modern day and this was kind of weirdly slice of street life, and you were just following these characters and how they kept weaving in and out of each other, and then the reveal at the end where crash, they are completely connected to each other. I think that all would have been really much more interesting and cool and kind of like, but in this Blade Runner-y sci-fi setting, you're just like, why are we here? We keep expecting some reason for that that's more than vibes. Go ahead, Jessica.
I agree with you. And it's not the action so much. It's we're being led down a rabbit hole by this blue hair girl, right?
Yeah.
And then they stop showing you the blue hair girl.
Yes. Where'd the rabbit go?
Nadira, right? And I feel like some flashes of her in these different situations, you're just getting weird references of her. But if I could have seen a little bit, I don't see a little bit more of her connecting with Paul, not Paul, but Cactus Bill, and not understanding their connection. And like, just maybe a little bit more of that. You just have Leo going to places she's been. And it sorry, my doorbell just rang and my dog just, and she's going to bark. But anyways, we can keep going.
We're recording this in real life, people.
Yes, it's real life.
That's right.
I'm not sure what's going on. But I mean, it is, I do see what you're saying, because it probably was it was a crime drama and not sci-fi at some point, and that is what it was written as. I mean, I do like a good sci-fi film noir crime drama, so I'm okay with it being in there. But yeah, no, I do understand your point though.
But yeah, it makes the story just feel too light, and I think the more the movie went on, the more I liked it, much to my surprise.
Yeah,
because even as it's going, I'm like, I don't know what. There's not
What's
much
gonna happen?
here, right? It's like the characters just stand around and talk, and like have these moments where you're like, these are all such characters, and it is almost like an indie crime drama where something that if it had been low budget and unexpected probably would have stood out, and if we had seen it in the 90s or something like that, and it had only been made for under $1 million with all new like that would have been something. The duck character, the Cactus Bill character, this mute guy, the fact that they all are swimming through these very seedy places looking for this girl, and then you realize it's connected to Cactus Bill and Duck, and then Duck's secret, and then Duck even having the final. I thought after Paul Rudd's fate, no spoilers, and then Cactus Bill, I'm like, wow, this is a strange place to end it. But no, Duck just keeps going. Yeah. And you're like, whoa, I did not expect it to just keep going down.
The third act was the best thing about this film. Sorry, Jessica, go ahead.
Yeah. Go ahead. We're saying the same thing. I agree with you.
Okay, go for it. No, you go for it.
What? No, please.
I will say that so the relationship between the dual antagonist, but first of all, still the best thing about the film. And I pray to God they do some prequel if they are going to invest in this IP again, because that's the only thing worth doing. But I think Act 3 in this film is that turn, that reveal, that character change, that arc moment is beautiful. Like, it's the thing, I'm not kidding you, it's the thing that saved this entire film. And I get it now. That's the reason I waited it. I wait the try, because I see that this reveal, this ending, okay, I see what he was attempting to do here. And I'm not sure how it got off the rails, if it was a production thing or note or all just a collective, right? But that third act was just so potent and so well written. I was like, it saved the entire thing for me. It did. Yeah. Totally did.
And what happened to Duck in the war? What happened?
Right. What happened to Duck in the war?
Right.
Jesus Christ.
Because he's messed up, man.
Right. But even seeing like the slow dissolution of Duck and Cactus Bill's relationship, where it's like it's souring and it's becoming something where it's like they're almost playing the chummy, like, but we've been buds, so we'll keep playing that. Like, we have to be, but no, things have changed. And then that's going to lead somewhere that then is going to lead to this whole almost act 3.5. Like, there's the third act, and then there's like this half act after where you're like, this movie's still going, and it's just between Duck and Aleksander Skarsgard, and you're like, this is fascinating, like how this keeps going and where this is going. And I do think, Dallas, I have my theory like of how this went off the rails. I'm almost positive, which is it's the same way Megalopolis went off the rails. And that is, this was a too long gestating project.
Absolutely.
Where the seed remained the same and never really like here's the bare bones structure of the story. And 16 years later, you keep now it's sci-fi, now it's in the future, now it's in another place, now it's got daddy and mommy issues, and now it's like we're just going to keep piling on things, but that bone structure you don't tweak at all. You just leave it exactly as it's always been, and suddenly these things sitting on top of the structure, it's fascinating, maybe. And I thought it definitely was, and I think some of it, like, there is that like, why these things all together? But I'm not sure. It doesn't feel organic or natural in any way, shape, or form, which I think is part of what I just really like about this film. It's so nothing like this is not a film that should exist.
Stilted.
Like,
that's
just nothing about
the term. It's stilted. That's what I came with. It's like stilted. It's slightly.
I don't know if I agree with that.
It's slightly, like you said, nothing about it necessarily. It's not that it doesn't make sense, but it's like
Right.
it's things seem almost magically arbitrary, right? It's like it's like a degree,
Some
one degree
things.
from things that make sense, that track, that sort of, that it's like one degree of separation from good. I hate to say it, from good.
Right, from working at the very least for you. And I can't, like I said, I don't really disagree with anything anyone's saying here. I just, for whatever reason, I really appreciated somehow, much to my surprise, as I watched this movie in 2 sittings, and I mean, I was champing at the bit to get back to the second sitting, and then I watched it, and I was just like, I was mesmerized by this fucking thing, because I was just like, where are you going?
Yes.
What is happening in this movie?
The resolution of this movie is crazy. And
It's
is
crazy.
it's well worth watching.
Yeah.
It's really well worth watching for most of the performances and for what is good about it, right? And then you just have to accept that some parts you're just like, okay, this is taking a long time here. Leo is going these places trying to figure it out without being able to speak. And he's also not necessarily a very expressive person with his other senses. And so, you get to that thing going on. And the one thing, I don't know, we can't spoil anything. Is that the rules of the show?
Go for it. Say it. We can cut it out if it's knock yourself
Okay. Cut it out.
You can cut it out. All right. So give you time to cut it out. No. The plastic bag. Okay.
Right.
So we cut to that scene and the person's trying to get out of the bag. Is she still drugged? Is she still in all of her senses? If she's still in all of her senses, when Mr. Alexander finds her, he just goes.
Right. I know exactly what you're saying.
Easily opens it up like it's nothing.
Nothing.
And I was so upset. I was like, could she not get out of that? What? She was sitting in that corner.
Yeah.
And so then I wanted to ask you guys if you thought he was constantly drugging her or if he just left her. And that was so confusing to me. Or if that was a flashback. It was a flashback, but how far of a flashback?
Right.
That part was a little confusing to me.
It's interesting you say that, because Duck, when Cactus Jack and Duck were having a bit of an argument, they referenced her, and Duck said something to the effect, I should go back and look this up, but he said something to the effect of, you don't have to worry about her anymore. In relation to Nadira.
I think. Yeah.
Nadira. And Cactus Jack's response was, what does that mean? And so in that moment, when they revealed that she was dead, when they revealed her fate, cut that part out, Dave. When they revealed her fate with the plastic
whole part.
bag, I know, cut the last 10 minutes out. But when they revealed her fate, he wasn't shocked. And so I had question about the line. What the hell was he referencing? I'm going to have to go back and watch it again. We'll watch that scene again. I'm going to watch it.
Did Duck do it?
That's what I thought.
What?
When
now I have to watch it a third time. What are we talking about?
No. Duck definitely didn't do it. So when
Dave's gonna clear it
because
up.
when Paul Rudd when Duck walks in and Paul Rudd is in the state that he's in after the Aleksander Skarsgard finding the plastic bag moment, Duck tells him, he's like, you just couldn't, it's you and your temper. You just had to. That's
right. He did say that. Yeah.
Basically do her in. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, this was Rudd 100%. And we see the flashback of Rudd following them, drugging them, dragging her back. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure this was all him.
But I still don't know what he was referencing, what Duck was referencing in that.
Here's what I think he was referencing. I don't think Duck knew he killed her when he said that line. Because when Duck comes down, sees the dead body, sees Paul Rudd, that's when he's like, you stupid shit. You had to go and do this. You couldn't let it go. Yeah. He meant you don't have to worry about her anymore because she's
Right.
out of, like, you're leaving. She's not in your life. Like, this is in the past.
I'll
And
buy
that's
that.
why Paul Rudd was like, and that's why Paul Rudd was defensive, because he's like,
Right.
do you know I killed her? Like, what do you mean by that?
Right.
And that's what I think.
All
that
right,
meant.
I'll buy that. All right, good.
And I will say this movie has my favorite dispatching of a villain of all times. It's up there.
It's
I
a good
do
one.
enjoy that scene. I think he gets
Yeah.
everything he deserves. I was like,
Yes.
look what you did to your daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
But I
oh,
can't
And
believe that
the
guy
worst part is,
He flips
Yeah,
that, that camera.
so the other thing, I think this is kind of a masterstroke. I think this may be taught in like 20 years in film school screenwriting and filmmaking classes. But there is the moment after Cactus Jack dies. Duck turns the camera. He goes upstairs. We see him go in the room. And I think the very next scene, we go to black, and the very next scene is we pan past the little girl's open bedroom door, and it is just a mess. And it's one of those moments when I was like, ooh, creepy. That's okay. All right. That's
That's why I blacked this movie out.
right. Right.
I know.
But
I
it's
know.
one of those things when you're just like, oh man, okay, that's effective filmmaking. That's very effective.
Yeah.
Very effective. Because it's
I
in
know.
passing, it's like it's truly like 2 seconds, but you see the illusion. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was the Paul Rudd character. He's a character that is just, he can't, it's interesting because he can't really get everything he wants whenever he wants it, but
Mhm.
he acts like he has no, like, repercussions don't exist.
Yeah.
And he's furious if any do. And if, we don't know anyone in the modern era that behaves like that at all. But it's very much, it was very satisfying, especially in that final scene where he meets his fate. He instigates and eggs it on, like, to the final second. Like,
Yeah.
nothing he does allows him to not deserve it. Like, for a half second, like, there's nothing redeeming about this character except for that fatherly love. Like, it's an interesting element where
Yeah.
it's like, it's the only thing you can admire in any way, shape, or form. And yet everything else about him, outside of that one thing he's decided to care about and do that for, is like the worst human being you can imagine on the planet. Boom, right there.
Yeah. And I think it's why he lets Justin
Yes.
Theroux's character stay
Yes.
around. Because whatever they
Yes.
went through in the war together, they both are monsters in their
Yes.
own way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And, Cactus Bill lets it slide with his friend because he's also very
Right.
dark and gritty and ugly inside. And you're just like, and that letting it slide is his biggest mistake, really, and
Yeah.
like
I'm telling
But-
you, the characters
the
are
person he
there's zero actual redeeming qualities out of these characters, but it's the film I want to see. I would love to.
Yeah.
I would love to see
Yeah.
the back how we got to this point, because they are very well drawn characters.
They
For such
They are.
a relative short time on screen, I
Oh, no,
appreciate
they have a
it.
lot of, I mean, that's the thing. They have more time probably than frickin' Skarsgard does, technically. We follow them a lot. I'm not sure if they have a little time on
I don't know. I
screen.
guess I think of them more sort of peppering, but it did make me want to dig into the concept of the dual antagonist and how
Mhm.
rare that is, because they are mirrors to a certain degree of one another. They have their own arcs, but they both operate at completely different sort of wavelengths and sort of moral ethical sort of compasses, but it's a seamless kind of interaction and relationship. And I'm impressed by that relationship more than anything else in
Yeah.
the film.
As a character-driven crime drama, it's actually very good.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just
Absolutely.
couched in all this other nonsense that is, unfortunately, like, again, it evolved in this way where it's like, sure, but
Yeah.
now the way this thing looks, the money you're spending on it, how it's coming across, like it's getting in the way of what the story actually is and what makes this sing. And as much as I love the idea of a loose trilogy of sci-fi stories that we're going to get from Jones, although I will say this, having watched Moon and now this also, I mentioned earlier, there is definitely a style and a voice and a tone to Jones between Moon and this that I'm like, in the dialogue, in the way characters talk to each other, the way the Sam Rockwell characters talk to themselves, there is something there where I'm like, I'm starting to recognize that Duncan Jones voice for sure. Like it's not, this movie is not just like incoherent in that regard. I'm like, oh no, I see your fingerprints all over this thing. It's still a strange out of left field movie in many ways, but yeah, it was a weirdly breezy watch.
It was satisfying.
As heady as everything was.
It ended up being oddly, and I use that term intentionally, oddly satisfying. I did not have any great expectations for this film. Halfway through, I was rolling my eyes like, oh, okay, thanks Netflix for, vibe coding this film for us with your in-house style. But, no offense to Netflix. If you want to give us some money to make a movie, you're great. Yeah, it was one of those things where it was like, but when we got to that Act 3, I was like, God damn it, shit. This is actually cool.
Yeah, it was good. I would have liked Sam Rockwell to play Cactus Bill and had that been
so
would Duncan Jones. Goddamn,
yeah, it's true. So would Duncan Jones.
Everyone wanted Sam Rockwell to play Cactus Bill.
Did he or did he want to play Duck? But we wanted him to play one of them.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
right. It was Duck.
I wanted to play Duck if I was Sam Rockwell. I wouldn't. I mean, power to Justin Theroux, but I wouldn't have wanted to play that character. But I think Sam Rockwell as the Paul Rudd character would have been fabulous.
I can see it.
And who knows how that. I mean, yeah, just because. Then, because what do they call it? The sequel, the spiritual sequel?
Sequel, yeah.
It is good to know what happens in that little scene with Sam Rockwell, but I still know that my main issue with this movie is that it's not, one of the main characters is not Sam Rockwell. Whether it's whatever version of Sam Rockwell from Moon it is, I will take it. But yeah, but okay. I'll someday get over it.
Go ahead, Dallas.
I didn't check the cast list.
I was going to say that.
Oh, we got a delay going. We got delay. This is beautiful. All right, I'll go. So I didn't check the cast list. I should probably do that. But who was the actor who was the muscle in pink who was sitting in the corner reading? Is that, you know what I'm talking about? The guy who, he looks so much like the actor from the John Hughes movies. Shit, god damn it, I gotta look his name up. Son of a bitch. I couldn't tell. It's gonna drive me crazy. No. Anyway.
I don't think so. When I looked at the cast list, and I did look at that guy, I don't think he had like a long and storied acting career. So I don't think so, but maybe listeners feel free to go look that up if you like. And I will say, Jessica, at the very least, when we do the third part of this spiritual sequel, at least it won't be a movie, so you won't miss Sam Rockwell. It'll be a graphic novel, and that part of your brain can just like let that go.
It's just my love for Sam Rockwell is so deep and so intense that
and also
half the movies.
Also the film I referenced starring Marlene Dietrich in her final film role, which David Bowie starred in, Duncan Jones's father, Just a Gigolo. We're adding to the list. We're definitely going to do this because it is bonkers. So we got to.
All right, you heard it here first. Just a Gigolo, one of these days, coming soon. We promised you Mute, and here we finally are 1 year later.
That's
so
right.
Even if you don't see it right away,
it'll happen.
When we make a promise, it happens. I'm sure we've already made promises.
We made tons.
So maybe not, but probably. So on that note, though, let's talk about the wines. My God, what are we pairing with this movie? So Jessica, kick us off. You're now an old hand at this, so you don't need to see us go first. So why don't you kick us off? What did you decide to pair with Mute?
Okay, this time I did not go to Trader Joe's. I went to Vino Core, which is a local shop, a woman-run shop that features female-made wines, which I thought was kind of
Cool.
important for this because women so much drove this film. They were like the motivation, whether it was the daughter or it was Leo's love interest. So I picked a Sauvignon Blanc that was made in Germany. The Weingut. Let me see if I can do this. Nope, starting over. I can do it. Schlossmühlenhof. I could do it before I drank some of this wine.
Schlossmühlenhof.
Yes. My husband took German and he was helping me, and I knew I was going to still. Anyway, and Gabrielle is the woman's first name who made the wine. It's Boden and the Sauvignon Blanc. And one, I picked it because it was a female winemaker. Two, because it was made in Germany and the film is set in Berlin. But mainly and really truthfully, I picked it because it reminded me of Leo. The wine is natural, very Amish, I like to say.
Yeah.
It's white, it's dry, it's got a little grit, and it has electrifying acidity, just like Leo. I feel
Nice.
I wanted a mute wine, but I couldn't find one that I knew for sure. I like the Bodenfunk is loosely translated as like sound waves or soil waves. And so that kind of ties in. The sound waves tie into Leo. The soil waves, I think, tie into Cactus Bill, like in a weird way. Like he's so pulled by his homeland, America, where he's from. And it's just his main drive. And I think that was how the wine kind of connected to that character. And just funk itself in the wine world is kind of like references. It's referring to the unusual and wild and earthly aromas and flavors that come with these natural wines. And I just thought these characters were a little wild and earthy, especially Leo. It's like, it's a dry Riesling. It's got a lot of acidity. And honestly, on the second date, that lemon really comes out almost just a little too much for me. I really liked it last night. Tonight, it's a little bit, I still like it, but it's,
that's natural wine in a nutshell. Non-natural wine tends to get better up by day 2, but natural wine, you're really like, open it when you're having a celebration and get some people to join with you, because it doesn't have the preservatives, so it tends to turn more quickly. It had a lot of grit in it this morning, and it's super lemony, more so than it was last night. Anyway, someone referred to it as Beyonce's Lemonade, which I liked because it tied into the album, I guess, a little bit more than that. Cool. This is the wine I picked. It was the only German wine that the wine store had as well, so but it luckily fit somewhat. So
it does. I like it. I like it.
Beautiful. All right, Dallas, what do you got for us? How are you going to follow that up?
All right. For me, this film is about loosely like the everyday in a seemingly extraordinary world. The palette it's kind of sumptuous from time to time. It's vibrant but kind of moody, but definitely accessible. And that kind of screams like Syrah to me. The film also feels a little. It is a little pedestrian in many ways, a little too accessible maybe in narrative structure, but and that kind of seems like Cab Sauv. Yeah, I said it. Fight your mothers. Overall, the film is satisfying, but again, mostly because I kind of weight the try, as we discussed earlier, solely than just the execution. And this film is a solid try. I mean, that third act, and it's very rare I could say that I've seen a film where the third act, the final 10 minutes of a film, saves it. And it does. The final 10 minutes of this film saves this film.
Watch more martial arts films. It's like the finale is the only thing that matters, and the rest of the film is like, this is not a good film.
But that's why you're there. But that's why you're there for those martial. You're there for the final 10-15 minutes for those films. The dual antagonist thing is fantastic. So with that in mind, I decided to go with something that was kind of split down the middle. Is maybe a good table wine was what kept coming to mind. I imagine that something was sort of equal parts Syrah or Cab, and then I remembered our good old friend Joe the Trader, who, luckily for me, has set up stores all around our fair city where I could find such a thing. Specifically, the 2022 Maison Barboulot Cab Syrah. It is a 50-50, right down the middle, blend of Cab, Sauv, and Syrah. It is from the south of France, of course. It is fermented in concrete tanks and aged a few months with French oak. Or in French oak, I should say. Lots of
Jessica's namesake, too, right in there, Maison.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Maison. Well,
you did that on purpose, of course. That was my thinking.
Maison. And lots of deep red fruit. There's some vanilla. And this was kind of a stroke of genius, this film came off a little bubble gummy to me. I don't know if I said that earlier. It was like slightly elevated bubble gum. That's what it feels like to me. And it's pleasant. Does it stick around? Is it a life-changing experience? No. There's some great, really potent burst of flavor. But and both overall, like I said, are very satisfying. This wine, I'm actually probably halfway through the bottle, or a little more than half, because it's it's easy to drink. This film is easy to watch.
Drinking.
It's easy drinking, man. So yeah, that's what I did. The 2022 Maison Barboulot Cab Syrah. All right, Dave, bring us home. Tell us what you got.
All right. So I'm the one who probably enjoyed the film the most, liked it the most. It does stick with me. I mean, some of the things that happen in the film, Jesus, I don't necessarily want them to stick with me, but they're sticking with me.
Okay.
But so my thinking was similar to Jessica's, but I decided to focus on, I thought, it's Berlin set, maybe a German wine. But I wanted to focus on the American expats. Paul Rudd and Justin Theroux, those two characters, Cactus Bill and Duck, they are the two characters that really make this movie a standout. I think to Dallas's point, it does feel like if you're following Skarsgard's character, as interesting as the mute angle is, it's a Taken, it's a John Wick, it's that type of story where suddenly you expect all this action, you don't get it, but you expect it, and it is seemingly that type of story. But it's the other two MASH-like characters as villains that really are the thing to suck you in, and you're like, okay, this is worth watching. Like, I want to see where these two characters are going and what's going to happen here. So I thought to focus on the element of what Duncan Jones, the director, said is like, what if these guys were out of place? What if it was Americans in a land that wasn't theirs and they just wanted to get out of there, or at least one of them really wanted to get out of there? So I thought, well, what's a wine from Germany that's out of place, that doesn't belong there? So on top of that, Mute it's a fairly austere film emotionally. Like it kind of keeps you at arm's length, which I think is another thing that keeps most people from really digging this movie or really getting invested in it or really connecting with it. Even though it's superficially candy colored with science fiction elements and very colorful characters, sometimes fatally so, the story is very slow to unravel. It's more like a day-to-day slice of life about relationships that are fraying due to each character's weaknesses. So when I thought of Germany and an austere wine made from a grape that doesn't belong, isn't from there, but that would bring a balance of that austerity and intensity that also is a big part of this movie, especially in the final act. So I went with a German Pinot Noir, or Spätburgunder, as they like to call it over there, which is why they actually make a lot of Pinot Noir in Germany, believe it or not. It came to Germany in the 1400s, but it was really hard to get red grapes generally in Germany. It was always historically very hard to get them ripe enough. So it made not the best red wine. They made it because they needed some local red wine to drink, but it rarely was that good. But with climate change and very advanced vinification techniques, nowadays German Pinot Noir is considered some of the biggest bang for your buck out there. Like you can find good $20 to $30 Pinot, which you kind of can't find from nowadays with American Pinot and with French Pinot, like even South African and Australian Pinot, you're spending like some bucks on those things. And German Pinot is now your kind of budget, affordable Pinot that is still really good. And they actually make they're the third largest producer of Pinot Noir in the world after California and France. France makes the most, California makes the second, and Germany actually makes 2/3 of the amount of Pinot America, all of America does. So they produce a lot of Pinot, but under the name Spätburgunder, so you might not have realized they produce Pinot, because of course they had to just come up with their own name for it and call it Spätburgunder. It's like, do you not like money? Come on, guys, like just call it Pinot Noir and get it out there. Now, to that note, I think things are changing a little bit, because the bottle that I chose specifically, they did actually call it Pinot Noir on the bottle, and it was a bottle meant to go out to overseas. So obviously they're picking up on that, where it's like, well, if we want to sell it non-locally, let's maybe not call it Spätburgunder, because nobody knows what the hell that is. So this is the 2017 Schnaitmann Steinwiege Pinot Noir from Württemberg. Württemberg is a region known for red wine, which is kind of a rare thing in Germany. It's one of the warmer regions of Germany, so they make about 70% of their wine is red, coming from Württemberg, usually Dornfelder, Pinot Noir, of course, and Blaufränkisch are kind of the big ones that all come from Germany. And this particular Pinot, aged 18 months in old neutral cask barrels, rests in a bottle for several years before it's released. So this 2017 is the new, latest release. They actually hold it back until they think it's ready, and only then do they release it for people to buy. So similar to this movie, which was held back until it was ready to come out. So it was held back in age for the people, and then only released when the director decided it was ready. So yeah, this Pinot, it's light in body. It's got that kind of tart, sour cherry flavor that comes from cooler climates. Even though this is a warm, quote unquote, climate for Germany, it's still for Germany. So you're not going to get a ripe Pinot Noir. You're going to get that tartar sour version of this, but it's also got a little bit of a richer depth, some black cherry sweetness in there to go on top of the sour cherry, some herbaceousness, earthiness. It's all, and minerality. You always get minerality with cooler climate Pinot. So it's got that roundness that there was something about this movie that just had all those elements in it to me. It was a breezy watch. This Pinot is just drinkable, while having that bit of complexity where, if you want to talk about this movie, for all its, whether it works or doesn't, or how well it all comes together, like it's not a simple, straightforward movie with these characters and all that's going on and how they're weaving in and out of each other. So you needed some of that complexity. So for me, I went with that Pinot, out of place in Germany, the 2017 Schnaitmann Steinwiege Pinot Noir from Württemberg. That is my pairing for Mute. Thank you, Dallas. All right, guys. You know, we had last thoughts that we might have done, but we really talked this movie at full length. We went all the way through.
Yeah.
So let's wrap this up first by giving you the answer to the wine trivia question of the week at the end of this episode here. This is the first time since we started to put it at the end of the episode that I'm remembering to record it while we're recording. I've had to, like, while I'm editing the episode, I'm like, oh shit, hop back into Riverside and record something real quick. So what does muté and mutage mean in terms of wine? And the answer, folks, is A, fortified by the addition of spirits, believe it or not. So it's called mute because what you're doing when you add, usually brandy like in port, or you can do neutral grape spirits, depending on in certain types of wine, where any type of fortified wine, what you're doing when you add alcohol, it kills fermentation. It just stops it outright. So you wind up leaving sugar behind. So like in port, you dump the brandy in, it halts fermentation. You leave a lot of sugar in the original grape juice behind, which is why it's sweet, but then also has high alcohol because you've added the brandy to it. So you're muting the fermentation, which is why they call it muté and mutage. Deacidification is just called deacidification. Aged in neutral containers doesn't have a term. It's just what you aging it in, and no one came up with a fancy term for that. And told to shut the fuck up by an older, bossier wine. Comic relief.
That's called the Dallas effect, actually.
That's called a Dallas effect. There you go. Perfect. Perfect. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. Once again, our special guest today, Jessica Maison, one of our producers. Jessica, where can people find you online and follow you after listening to this episode?
You can find everything about me at wickedtreepress.com, or if you are on Substack, you can follow me, Monster of the Week, or Jessica Mason. You'll be able to find me.
Yes.
Thanks
Beautiful.
again, guys.
And that is
That's great.
Maison is her name. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. We also have to shout out our 2 other producers because we have to, because they're producers. By the way, did you know you could become a producer by going to our Substack, entertainmentstudios.com, and subscribe at the producer tier. You get a shout out every single episode and commission your own episode. Anyway, our other 2 producers, Kate Rochelle of survivesonwine.substack.com. She is a Portuguese wine expert. So, and she does these amazing visual tasting notes that I absolutely love. And then Paul Kalmkiarian of Wine Talks with Paul K. He is an OG podcaster in the wine world, and his podcast is leaps and bounds. One day when we've been podcasting for 10 plus years or however long he's been doing this, like, yeah, we might be there, but we're only at like year 2. So give us some time. Give us some time. Thank you so much to everyone. Thanks so much to our producers, and folks, we will be back in 1 week, and I actually think it will be 1 week because we have a couple guests lined up, and we might be back on a weekly schedule for a little while. So we will be back hopefully in 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, with another wine and entertainment pairing for your entertainment. Until then, ciao for now.
Later, guys.
Bye.